The elevator doors were closing. Riven Hale lunged forward, breath ragged, one hand clamped over his swollen belly. His fingers slipped through the narrowing gap just as metal kissed metal. The doors jerked back open. He stumbled inside, shoulder slamming against the polished wall. The doors sealed shut behind him. Silence dropped like a curtain. Riven's chest heaved, sweat soaked through his shirt, clinging to skin that burned too hot. His legs trembled. 7 months pregnant, 29 weeks. The baby pressed low, heavy, insistent. A dull ache pulsed through his lower back. He wasn't alone. The man stood in the corner, draped in black from collar to wrist, tailored suit, broad shoulders that filled space without moving. His posture was too still, too controlled, like a knife resting on a table. Hi viewers, kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is. Riven's scent hit the air before he could stop it. Omega, pregnant, terrified. The man's eyes flicked down to Riven's stomach, sharp and assessing, then back up to his face. He didn't smile, didn't speak, didn't move closer. He just watched. Riven pressed himself against the opposite wall, fingers trembling as they curled protectively over his belly. The baby kicked once, then stilled. Outside, footsteps thundered. A fist slammed against the elevator doors. Riven! Riven flinched, his entire body locked. That voice deep, commanding, furious. Brax Calder. His ex-alpha. The man who had promised safety and delivered chains. Open it, Brax roared. Metal groaned under the impact. I know you're in there. Riven's knees buckled, his vision blurred. The baby shifted again, pressing against his ribs, stealing what little breath he had left. The man in black didn't flinch. He pressed a button. The elevator descended. Brax's voice followed them down, muffled but relentless. You think hiding will save you? That pup is mine. The word mine echoed wrong, possessive, absolute, final. Riven's hands shook, his throat closed. He couldn't breathe, couldn't think. The elevator hummed as it dropped past the 15th floor, then the 10th, then lower. The man in black finally spoke. You're carrying. His voice was quiet, controlled, and far too calm. And you're being hunted. Riven stared at him, at the sharp lines of his jaw, at the cold precision in his eyes, at the ring on his finger, dark metal etched with a symbol Riven didn't recognize but felt in his gut. This man wasn't safe. But neither was the world outside. The elevator kept falling. Would you trust the stranger in the elevator, or the man pounding on the doors above? The elevator passed the lobby without stopping. Riven's stomach dropped. Wait, what are you? Quiet, the man's voice cut through the air like a blade. Riven's mouth snapped shut. The display panel above the doors ticked downward. B1, B2, B3. Basement levels Riven didn't know existed. His pulse hammered in his ears. The baby kicked again, harder this time, as if sensing the shift in pressure. The man pulled out his phone. 2 taps, no words. He slid it back into his pocket and returned his gaze to Riven. Who is he? The man asked. Riven's throat tightened. My ex. Alpha. Riven nodded. And the child. Riven's hands curled tighter over his belly, his, biologically. The man's jaw tightened, but his expression didn't change. How far along? 29 weeks. Complications. Riven hesitated. Stress, early contractions. Nothing serious yet. The man's eyes narrowed. Yet. The elevator slowed. Riven's phone buzzed in his coat pocket. He pulled it out with shaking hands. A text message from an unknown number. You can't hide, Riven. I already told the cops you're unstable. They're searching the building. You're coming home. Riven's vision tunneled. The phone slipped from his fingers and clattered to the floor. Brax had the police. Brax had security. Brax had already won. The man crouched and picked up the phone. He glanced at the screen, then crushed it under his heel. Plastic cracked, glass splintered, the pieces scattered across the elevator floor. Hey, Riven gasped. That was traceable, the man said. He straightened. He was using it to follow you. Riven stared at the broken shards, his only link to the outside world, gone. The elevator doors opened. Not to a lobby, not to a parking garage. To a hallway. Long, dimly lit, concrete walls, no windows, no exits except the one behind them. The man stepped out first. He glanced back at Riven. "Are you coming?" Riven didn't move. His legs refused. His mind screamed at him to run, to hit the emergency button, to do anything except follow this stranger into the dark. But Brax was upstairs. Brax had the law. Brax had everything. Riven stepped forward. The elevator doors closed behind him with a quiet hiss. The man walked ahead, slow and deliberate. His footsteps echoed. Riven followed, one hand braced against the wall, the other cradling his stomach. The baby was restless now, shifting and kicking as if protesting the descent. They reached a door at the end of the hall. The man pressed his palm against a scanner. A green light blinked. The lock disengaged. He pushed the door open and stepped aside. Riven froze in the doorway. Inside was a room, clean, warm, soft lighting, a bed with white sheets, a chair, a small table, and in the corner medical equipment. Monitors, IV stands, everything sterile and ready. "What is this?" Riven whispered. The man didn't answer immediately. He walked to the far side of the room and pressed a button on the wall. A screen flickered to life, displaying a live feed of the building's main entrance. Brax stood outside, flanked by 2 uniformed officers. He was gesturing wildly, pointing at the doors, his face twisted in manufactured concern. "He's telling them you're in danger," the man said, "that you're his bonded Omega, that you're carrying his child and you've gone missing." Riven's knees gave out. He sank onto the edge of the bed, breath coming in shallow gasps. "Why are you helping me?" he asked. The man turned. His eyes were dark, unreadable. "Because predators like him make the world messy." His phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen. His expression didn't change, but something shifted in the air, colder, sharper. He looked at Riven. He brought the law as a weapon. Riven's chest tightened. What does that mean? The man pocketed his phone. It means he's forcing a choice. What choice? Trust a stranger, the man gestured to himself, or trust the system he's already corrupted. Riven's hands trembled. He pressed them flat against his thighs, trying to stop the shaking. The baby kicked again, a sharp jab just below his ribs. The man stepped closer, not threatening, not crowding, just present. "You ran into this elevator for a reason," he said. "You didn't stop on the lobby floor. You didn't call for help. You knew no one upstairs would protect you." Riven swallowed. "I didn't know you were in here." "But you still got in." Silence. The screen on the wall flickered. Brax was speaking to the officers now, his face a mask of concern. One of the officers nodded and spoke into his radio. "They're coming inside," the man said. "Security will unlock the elevators. They'll search floor by floor." Riven's breath caught. "Then I'm trapped." "No," the man walked to the door and placed his hand on the panel again. A red light blinked. The lock engaged. "This elevator doesn't go to the floors they can access, and this room doesn't exist on any building schematic." Riven stared at him. "Who are you?" The man turned. For the first time Riven saw it clearly. The ring on his finger, black metal, a crest engraved in the center, 3 overlapping circles, a symbol Riven had only heard whispers about. Enigma. Not just any Enigma. Riven's blood turned cold. "Cairos Blackwell," the man said quietly. Riven's heart stopped. Cairos Blackwell, Mafia boss, Shadow King of the East Coast, the man who controlled judges, politicians, and entire districts without ever stepping into the light. More dangerous than any alpha. More powerful than the law itself. Riven stood slowly, instinct screaming at him to run, but there was nowhere to go. The door was locked, the elevator was gone, and Brax was upstairs with the police. "You're scared," Cairos said. It wasn't a question. Riven nodded. "Good," Cairos gestured to the bed. "Sit. You're going into early labor if you don't control your breathing." Riven sank back down, hands cradling his belly, his pulse hammered. The baby shifted, restless and unhappy. Cairos walked to the corner and picked up a small device. He pressed a button. A soft hum filled the room. "White noise," he said. "They can't hear us, can't track us, can't find us." "Why are you doing this?" Riven asked again, voice breaking. Cairos met his gaze. "Because I don't like men who use the law to cage people." "And you're better." "No," Cairos set the device down. "But I don't pretend to be." Riven's throat tightened. Tears burned at the corners of his eyes. "He'll kill me," Riven whispered, "or he'll take the baby, or both." Cairos' expression didn't change. "No, he won't." "You don't know that." "Yes," Cairos said, "I do." The screen on the wall flickered again. Brax was inside the building now, officers flanking him. Security was unlocking doors. Cairos pulled out his phone and sent a single message. The screen went dark. Riven stared at it. "What did you just do?" "I locked the building," Cairos said. "Every floor, every exit, every camera. He's not leaving until I say so." Riven's breath hitched. "You can't." "I already did." The lock on the door beeped, once, twice. Cairos glanced at it, then back at Riven. "Once it locks," he said, "nobody can pull it back open." The room was warm, but Riven couldn't stop shaking. Cairos moved to the corner and pressed a button. A panel slid open, revealing a small sink and cabinets stocked with medical supplies. He pulled out a blood pressure cuff and walked back to Riven. "Armed," he said. Riven hesitated, then extended his left arm. Cairos wrapped the cuff around his bicep and pressed start. The machine beeped. Numbers climbed on the small screen. 140/95. Cairos frowned. "Too high." "I know," Riven said quietly. Cairos removed the cuff and set it aside. He crouched in front of Riven, eye level now. "When was your last medical check?" 3 weeks ago. "And?" "Contractions, stress-related. They said if I kept calm, the baby would be fine." "Are you calm?" Riven let out a bitter laugh. "What do you think?" Cairos didn't smile. He stood and walked to the door, pulling out his phone again. He typed quickly, then pocketed it. "A doctor will be here in 10 minutes, he said. "What doctor?" Riven asked. "Mine." Riven's stomach twisted. "I don't." "You don't have a choice," Cairos said. "Not cruel, just factual. Your blood pressure is dangerous. Your baby is at 29 weeks. If you go into labor now, you'll need NICU support. And Brax is upstairs with police who think you're unstable." Riven's hands curled into fists. "I traded one cage for another." Cairos tilted his head slightly. "Do you feel caged?" "I don't know what I feel." "Then feel nothing," Cairos said. "Just breathe." Riven closed his eyes. His chest rose and fell, uneven and shallow. The baby kicked again, a sharp reminder that time was running out. A soft knock echoed from the door. Cairos opened it. A woman stepped inside, late 40s, calm expression, medical bag in hand. She didn't look at Cairos. She looked directly at Riven. "My name is Dr. Lena Okafor," she said. "I'm an obgyn. I'm here to make sure you and your baby are safe." Riven swallowed. "Did he pay you?" "Yes," she said simply, "but that doesn't change my oath. I'm here for you, not him." She set her bag down and pulled out a portable ultrasound. "May I?" Riven nodded. Dr. Okafor lifted his shirt, exposing his rounded belly. The gel was cold. Riven flinched. She pressed the wand against his skin, and the screen flickered to life. A heartbeat filled the room. Strong, steady, fast. Riven's breath caught. Dr. Okafor studied the screen. "Baby's positioned well. Heartbeat is good. Amniotic fluid levels are normal." She glanced at Riven. "But your stress levels are not." "I know," Riven whispered. She wiped the gel away and pulled his shirt back down. "You need rest, hydration, calm. If your blood pressure doesn't drop, early labor is inevitable." "How early?" "Days, maybe hours." Riven's vision blurred. He pressed his hands to his face, trying to hold back the tears. Dr. Okafor placed a hand on his shoulder. "You're safe here. I don't know what you're running from, but you're safe now." She stood and looked at Cairos. "Keep him lying down. No stress. I'll be back in 6 hours to check again." Cairos nodded. Dr. Okafor left. The door locked behind her. Riven stared at the floor. His voice was barely a whisper. "Why are you helping me?" Cairos sat in the chair across from him. "Because predators like him make the world messy." "You said that already." "It's still true." Riven looked up. "What do you want in return?" Cairos leaned back. "Nothing." "Everyone wants something." "Not from you." Silence stretched between them. Cairos' phone buzzed. He glanced at it, then stood. Brax just arrived downstairs, he said, with police. Riven's heart slammed against his ribs. Cairos walked to the screen and turned it back on. Brax stood in the lobby, flanked by 2 officers. He was pointing at the security chief, his face flushed with fury. Then Brax smiled. Riven's blood went cold. Cairos' jaw tightened. He brought the law as a weapon. What would you do if the man hunting you controlled the people sworn to protect you? Brax's voice crackled through the building's intercom. Riven Hale is a missing Omega, Brax said, his tone smooth and practiced. 7 months pregnant with my child. He's emotionally unstable. He ran from our home this morning after an episode. Riven's hands clenched into fists. That's a lie, he whispered. Cairos didn't respond. He watched the screen, expression unreadable. One of the officers spoke into his radio. We need a welfare check, full building sweep. The security chief hesitated. Sir, we'd need authorization from. I have a court order, Brax interrupted. He pulled a folded paper from his jacket and handed it over. The officer scanned it, nodded. Clear every floor, the officer said. Riven stood, panic flooding his chest. They're coming. They won't find you, Cairos said. How can you be sure? Cairos turned, because I own this building. Riven's breath caught. Cairos pulled out his phone and made a call. It rang once. Stole them, he said, 20 minutes. He ended the call and looked at Riven. Sit down. I can't. Sit. Riven sank back onto the bed, trembling. Cairos walked to the wall panel and pressed a series of buttons. The screen split into 4 feeds. Lobby, stairwell, elevator bay, parking garage. Brax was moving now, following the officers toward the elevators. He's done this before, Riven said quietly. Cairos glanced at him. What do you mean? This whole thing, the court order, the police, the concerned Alpha Act, Riven's voice shook. He's practiced. Cairos' eyes darkened. How many times? I don't know, but I heard a name once. Another Omega. Brax mentioned him in passing, like he didn't matter anymore. Do you remember the name? Jammer Pierce. Cairos typed the name into his phone. His jaw tightened as he read. What? Riven asked. What is it? Jammer Pierce was reported missing 2 years ago, Cairos said. Case went cold after 3 months. Riven's stomach dropped. Brax did this to someone else, he whispered. Cairos pocketed his phone, and he'll keep doing it unless someone stops him. The screen flickered. The officers had reached the 10th floor. They were knocking on doors, checking rooms, moving methodically. Riven's phone, his crushed phone, sat in pieces on the floor, but the idea of it haunted him. He changed my medical records, Riven said suddenly. Cairos turned. What? Months ago, I tried to switch doctors, but when I requested my files, they were wrong. My heat cycles, my suppressant dosage, everything was altered. Cairos' expression went cold. Where are the files now? I don't know, I thought I was going crazy. Cairos pulled out his phone again and sent a message. Seconds later, a reply came through. He showed Riven the screen. A scanned document, Riven's name at the top, medical history, but the dates were wrong, the prescriptions didn't match. This was filed with the state 3 months ago, Cairos said. Riven's hands shook. He planned this, he planned all of it. Cairos slid the phone back into his pocket. Yes, he did. The screen showed Brax on the 15th floor now. He was speaking to an officer, gesturing toward the upper levels. Riven's chest tightened. He's going to find me. No, Cairos said, he's not. How can you stop him? Cairos walked to the door and placed his hand on the scanner. The lock disengaged. He pulled the door open and stepped into the hallway. A man in a dark suit stood waiting. He handed Cairos a tablet. Cairos scrolled through it, then signed at the bottom. He handed it back. Done, Cairos said. The man nodded and disappeared down the hall. Cairos stepped back inside and locked the door. What was that? Riven asked. Insurance, Cairos said. The screen flickered. The officers had reached the 20th floor. Riven stood. I can't just sit here. Yes, Cairos said, you can. What if? Sit. Riven sat. Cairos returned to the screen. He watched in silence as Brax moved through the building, floor by floor, getting closer. Then Cairos' phone buzzed. He glanced at it. His expression didn't change, but something shifted in his posture. Sharper, colder. He looked at Riven. Someone changed your records months ago. Who else knew Riven was pregnant before he even realized he'd been set up? The file sat open on Cairos' tablet. Riven stared at it, vision blurring. His name, his medical history, but the dates were impossible. Heat cycle documented 4 months before it actually happened. Suppressant prescription reduced 3 weeks before Riven even knew. Conception date listed as consensual planning. He knew, Riven whispered. He knew before I did. Cairos scrolled through the document. Your suppressants were tampered with, the dosage was cut in half. Your pharmacist filed the original prescription, but someone altered it in the system. Riven's hands trembled. I thought I was being careful. You were. Cairos looked up. He made sure you'd fail. Riven pressed his palms against his eyes, trying to stop the tears. The baby kicked hard, a sharp jab against his ribs. He gasped and dropped his hands to his stomach. He planned the pregnancy, Riven said. His voice cracked. He planned everything. Cairos set the tablet down. Yes. Why? Riven's chest heaved. Why would he do that? Control, Cairos said. An Omega with a child is easier to keep, harder to leave, legally bound. Riven's throat closed. He couldn't breathe. The room tilted. I didn't want this, he whispered. I didn't ask for this. I know. The baby, Riven's voice broke. The baby is his, biologically, that means. It means nothing, Cairos interrupted. Biology doesn't determine rights, consent does. Riven looked up, tears streaming down his face. The courts won't see it that way. The courts will see what I show them, Cairos said. He stood and walked to the wall panel. He pressed a button. A printer hummed to life in the corner. Pages emerged, one after another. Medical records, bank transfers, text messages, emails. Cairos gathered them and placed them on the table in front of Riven. This is everything, he said. Proof of tampering, proof of coercion, proof of intent. Riven stared at the stack. Where did you get this? I have resources. That's not an answer. Cairos met his gaze. You don't need an answer, you need justice. Riven's hands shook as he picked up the first page. A bank transfer. Brax's account to a pharmacist. $5,000. Date stamped 2 weeks before Riven's suppressants failed. He paid someone, Riven said. Yes. Riven flipped to the next page. An email, Brax to an unknown recipient. Omega secured. Conception timeline confirmed. Legal claim established. Riven's stomach turned. He dropped the pages. I'm going to be sick. Cairos moved quickly, grabbing a small waste bin and placing it beside Riven. Riven leaned over, dry heaving, nothing coming up but air and bile. The baby kicked again. Riven pressed a hand to his stomach, trying to breathe. I can't do this, he whispered. Yes, Cairos said, you can. I'm not strong enough. You ran from him, you're still standing, that's strength. Riven looked up, tears blurring his vision. What if I testify and he still wins? Cairos crouched in front of him. He won't. You don't know that. Yes, I do. Cairos' voice was calm, steady, unshakable, because I will make sure of it. Riven's breath hitched. Why? Why do you care? Cairos didn't answer immediately. He stood and walked to the screen. Brax was still moving through the building, officers at his side. Because men like him don't stop, Cairos said quietly. They take, they destroy, they move on, and if no one stops them, they keep going. Riven wiped his eyes. There are others. I heard him mention someone, Jammer. Cairos turned. I know, I'm looking into it. The screen flickered. Brax had reached the 25th floor. Cairos' phone buzzed. He glanced at it, then looked at Riven. Your water, he said. Riven's heart stopped. What? It's leaking, not broken, but leaking. Riven looked down. A small wet spot had formed on the bed beneath him. Panic flooded his chest. No, it's too early. It's a warning, Cairos said. Not labor, but close. Riven stood, legs shaking. I need a hospital. You need to stay calm. I can't. Cairos placed a hand on Riven's shoulder, firm, grounding. Breathe, he said. Riven tried. His chest rose and fell, uneven and shallow. The baby shifted. Cairos' phone buzzed again. He read the message, jaw tightening. He looked at Riven. If labor starts now, he might not survive it. Would you risk everything to bring a monster to justice, even if it meant your child's life hung in the balance? The wet spot spread. Riven stood frozen, staring at the bed. His hands hovered over his stomach, trembling. It's happening, he whispered. Not yet, Cairos said. He pressed a button on the wall. Dr. Okafor is on her way. She can't stop labor. She can slow it. Riven's knees buckled. Cairos caught him, getting him back to the bed. Riven sat, breath coming in shallow gasps. The baby kicked hard, urgent. He knows, Riven said. The baby knows something's wrong. Cairos knelt beside him. Look at me. Riven met his gaze. You are not dying today, Cairos said. Neither is your child. You can't promise that. I just did. The door beeped. Dr. Okafor entered, medical bag in hand. She didn't waste time with greetings. She moved straight to Riven, lifting his shirt and pressing her hands against his abdomen. Contractions, she asked. Not strong, Riven said, just pressure. She pulled out the portable ultrasound and pressed the one to his skin. The screen flickered. The baby's heartbeat filled the room. Still strong, still fast. Dr. Okafor frowned. Amniotic fluid is lower than before. You're leaking, but it's slow. If we can keep you calm, we can delay labor. For how long? Riven asked. Hours, maybe a day. And if I can't stay calm? She didn't answer. Cairos' phone buzzed. He glanced at it, expression hardening. What? Riven asked. Cairos showed him the screen. A photo taken from a security camera. Brax standing outside the medical wing, speaking to a nurse. He's bribing staff, Cairos said. Dr. Okafor's jaw tightened. He can't access this floor. He doesn't need to, Cairos said. He just needs one person to tell him where Riven is. Riven's hands clenched. Then I'm dead. No, Cairos said. He stood and walked to the door. He opened it and spoke to someone outside. Low, quick, precise. He stepped back inside. Every staff member on this floor has been replaced, he said. No one here knows you. No one here answers to him. Riven stared. You can do that. I already did. Dr. Okafor packed her equipment. I'll be back in 2 hours. Keep him lying down. No stress, no movement. She left. Cairos locked the door behind her. Riven lay back, exhausted. His hands rested on his stomach, feeling the baby shift and kick. He won't stop, Riven said quietly. Neither will I, Cairos replied. The screen flickered. Brax was on the move again, but this time he wasn't alone. A woman walked beside him, mid-30s, professional attire, confident stride. Riven sat up. Who is that? Cairos zoomed in on the feed. The woman handed Brax a folder. He opened it, scanned the contents, then smiled. Riven's blood went cold. That's my lawyer, he whispered. Cairos turned. What? I hired her 3 months ago to file for separation. Riven's voice shook. She said she'd help me. Cairos' jaw tightened. She's with him now. Riven's chest caved. She sold me out. The screen showed Brax and the lawyer entering an elevator. They were heading down. Cairos pulled out his phone and made a call. Track them, he said. I want to know where they go and who they meet. He ended the call and looked at Riven. She's not your lawyer anymore. Riven's hands shook. I trusted her. I know. She knew everything, my location, my plans, my fear. She won't use it, Cairos said. How can you stop her? Cairos' eyes darkened. Because I already own her firm. Riven stared. What? I bought it this morning. Every case, every file, every employee. Cairos leaned against the wall. She works for me now, she just doesn't know it yet. Riven's breath caught. You're terrifying. Yes, Cairos said, I am. The screen flickered again. Brax and the lawyer exited the building. They climbed into a black car. Cairos' phone buzzed. He read the message. They're heading to a courthouse, he said. Riven's stomach dropped. Why? To file an emergency custody claim. He can't do that, the baby isn't even born. He can try. Riven's hands flew to his stomach. The baby kicked, restless and unhappy. Cairos walked to the table and picked up the stack of documents. He flipped through them, then pulled one out. This, he said, holding it up, this is proof he tampered with your suppressants. If he files, I file this. Riven swallowed, and if the judge sides with him anyway. Cairos' expression went cold. Then the judge answers to me. Riven's phone, still in pieces on the floor, buzzed. Or at least Riven thought it did, but it was impossible. Cairos knelt and picked up the shattered remains. A notification glowed faintly on the cracked screen. You're not his only Omega. Cairos looked at Riven. There are others, and one of them is in the building. Who else did Brax trap, and why are they here now? The courtroom smelled like old wood and stale air. Riven sat in the back row, hands clenched in his lap, his stomach pressed against the edge of the bench. The baby hadn't stopped moving for an hour. Cairos sat beside him, silent, still, a wall between Riven and the world. Brax sat at the front, flanked by his lawyer. He looked calm, composed, like a man who had already won. The judge entered. Everyone stood. Riven's legs shook. The judge sat. Everyone followed. This is an emergency hearing, the judge said. Mr. Calder is requesting temporary custody of an unborn child. Mr. Hale, you are the respondent. Do you have representation? Riven opened his mouth. No sound came out. Cairos stood. I'm his legal proxy, Cairos Blackwell. The judge's expression shifted. Recognition, unease. Mr. Blackwell, the judge said carefully, this is highly irregular. So is filing custody claims for children who haven't been born, Cairos replied. Brax's lawyer stood. Your Honor, my client has a biological and legal right to his child. Mr. Hale has been erratic, unstable, and has fled multiple attempts at mediation. Riven's hands trembled. That's a lie, Cairos said. Do you have proof? The lawyer asked. Cairos reached into his briefcase and pulled out the stack of documents. He handed them to the bailiff, who passed them to the judge. The judge flipped through them, his expression darkened. These are medical records, the judge said. Tampered prescriptions, altered heat cycles, bank transfers. Brax's lawyer stepped forward. Your Honor, those documents are authenticated, Cairos interrupted, by 3 independent medical boards. I can provide testimony from the pharmacist who accepted the bribe, and the email server logs that confirm Mr. Calder's intent. The courtroom went silent. Brax stood. This is a setup. He's trying to frame me. Sit down, Mr. Calder, the judge said. Brax didn't move. Sit down. Brax sat. The judge looked at Riven. Mr. Hale, do you wish to testify? Riven's throat closed. He looked at Cairos. Cairos nodded. Riven stood. His legs shook. He walked to the witness stand and sat. The bailiff approached. Do you swear to tell the truth? I do, Riven whispered. The judge leaned forward. Mr. Hale, in your own words, tell the court what happened. Riven took a breath. The baby kicked. He sabotaged my suppressants, Riven said. His voice was quiet but steady. I didn't know. I thought I was being careful, but he changed the prescription. He timed my heat. He planned the pregnancy. Brax's lawyer stood. Objection, this is speculation. It's documented, Cairos said, holding up another file. The pharmacist is waiting outside to testify. The judge waved the lawyer down. Continue, Mr. Hale. Riven swallowed. He told me the baby would bind us, that I couldn't leave once I was pregnant, that the law would side with him. His voice cracked. He was right, it almost did. The courtroom was silent. The judge looked at Brax. Do you have a response, Mr. Calder? Brax stood, his face was calm, too calm. "Your Honor," he said smoothly, "Mr. Hale is emotional and confused. Pregnancy hormones can cause." "Don't," Cairos said. Brax turned. "Excuse me." "Don't patronize him," Cairos said. His voice was quiet, deadly, "and don't insult the court's intelligence." Brax's jaw tightened. "You have no authority here." "I have evidence," Cairos said, "which is more than you have." The judge held up a hand. "Enough," he looked at Brax's lawyer. "Do you have a witness?" The lawyer hesitated. "Yes, Your Honor." The doors at the back of the courtroom opened. A figure stepped inside. Riven's breath caught. It was someone he recognized, someone he had trusted. Someone Brax had bought. Would you believe the person who once promised to save you, or the evidence that proved they sold you out? The witness walked to the stand. Riven's stomach dropped. It was Kine Morrison, Riven's old co-worker, the one who had helped him pack the night he ran, the one who swore he'd never tell Brax where Riven went. Kine didn't look at Riven. The bailiff swore him in. Brax's lawyer smiled. "Mr. Morrison, you know the respondent, correct?" "Yes," Kine said quietly. "And you were present the night he left Mr. Calder's residence?" "Yes." "Can you describe his state of mind?" Kine hesitated. His hands gripped the edge of the stand. "He was scared," Kine said. Brax's lawyer frowned. "Scared or unstable?" Kine looked up. His eyes met Riven's. "Scared," he repeated, because Brax had locked him in the apartment for 3 days. The courtroom went still. Brax's lawyer stepped forward. "That's not." "I was there," Kine interrupted. His voice shook but held. "I saw the locks on the outside of the bedroom door. I saw the bruises on his wrists. I saw the pregnancy test he didn't even know he'd taken." Brax stood. "He's lying." The judge slammed his gavel. "Sit down, Mr. Calder." Brax sat. Kine's hands trembled. "Brax paid me $5,000 to testify that Riven was unstable. He said if I didn't, he'd make sure I lost my job." His voice cracked. "I took the money, but I can't do this." He reached into his jacket and pulled out an envelope. He handed it to the bailiff. "This is the check," Kine said, "dated 3 days ago, and a recording of Brax telling me exactly what to say." The bailiff passed the envelope to the judge. The judge opened it. His expression darkened. He looked at Brax. "Mr. Calder, you attempted to bribe a witness." Brax's lawyer stood. "Your Honor, this is—" "Answer the question," the judge snapped. Brax said nothing. The judge turned to the prosecutor. "I want this investigated immediately." Brax's mask slipped, his face twisted with rage. "That child is mine. He can't take it from me." "Sit down," the judge ordered. Brax didn't move. 2 bailiffs stepped forward. Brax lunged. Not at the bailiffs. At Riven. Cairos moved faster. He stepped between them, blocking Brax's path. Brax swung. Cairos caught his wrist midair and twisted. Brax cried out, dropping to his knees. The bailiffs grabbed him. "Restrain him," the judge ordered. Brax struggled, snarling. "He's carrying my child. He can't leave, the law says." "The law says nothing of the sort," the judge said coldly, "and you've just assaulted someone in my courtroom." Brax was dragged out, still screaming. The courtroom erupted. Riven sat frozen, hands pressed to his stomach. The baby kicked, hard, urgent. Cairos returned to his side. "Are you hurt?" Riven shook his head. "No, but—" A sharp pain lanced through his abdomen. He gasped. Dr. Okafor, seated in the back, rushed forward. "He's in labor," she said. The judge stood. "Clear the courtroom, now." People moved, voices echoed. Riven couldn't hear anything over the roar in his ears. Another contraction hit. He doubled over, breath coming in short gasps. Cairos knelt beside him. "Breathe." "I can't," Riven whispered. "It's too early." "You can," Cairos said, "and you will." Dr. Okafor checked his pulse. "We need to move him, now." 2 paramedics entered with a stretcher. Riven was lifted carefully, the world tilting around him. The judge's voice cut through the chaos. The court finds in favor of Mr. Hale, full custody. Mr. Calder's parental rights are suspended pending criminal investigation. Riven heard the words, but all he could feel was the baby coming, ready or not. Justice landed the same night labor began. The delivery room was bright and cold. Riven lay on the bed, legs trembling, hands gripping the rails. Monitors beeped. Nurses moved around him with calm efficiency. Dr. Okafor stood at the foot of the bed. "You're at 6 centimeters, we're moving fast." Riven's breath came in short gasps. "It's too early." 30 weeks and 2 days, Dr. Okafor said. "The NICU is ready. Your baby will be monitored closely, but the survival rate is excellent." Riven nodded, tears streaming down his face. Cairos stood in the corner, arms crossed, watching, not interfering, not hovering, just present. Another contraction hit. Riven cried out, back arching. "Breathe through it," Dr. Okafor said. "You're doing great." Riven squeezed his eyes shut. The pain was overwhelming, all-consuming, but beneath it something else stirred. Hope, desperation, the need to meet the life he'd been carrying for 7 months. 8 centimeters, Dr. Okafor said. "Almost there." Riven's vision blurred. He looked at Cairos. "Stay," he whispered. Cairos stepped forward. "I'm not going anywhere." The next contraction came hard and fast. Riven screamed. 10 centimeters, Dr. Okafor said. "On the next contraction, I need you to push." Riven nodded, exhausted. The contraction built, pressure, pain, urgency. "Push," Dr. Okafor said. Riven pushed. The world narrowed to that single moment. The strain, the effort, the overwhelming need to bring his child into the world. "Again," Dr. Okafor said. Riven pushed again. "I see the head," a nurse said. "One more," Dr. Okafor said. "Big push." Riven gathered every ounce of strength he had left. He pushed. And then, a cry. Small, weak, but alive. Riven collapsed back against the bed, sobbing. "It's a boy," Dr. Okafor said. The baby was whisked to the warming table. Nurses worked quickly, clearing his airways, checking his breathing. Riven tried to sit up. "Is he okay?" "He's breathing on his own," a nurse said. "Heart rate is strong. We're taking him to the NICU for monitoring, but he's stable." They wrapped the baby in a blanket and brought him to Riven. Riven's hands trembled as he reached out. The baby was so small, tiny fingers, tiny toes, eyes squeezed shut against the light. "Hi," Riven whispered. "I'm your father." The baby's fingers curled around Riven's thumb. Riven broke. Tears poured down his face. Relief, joy, exhaustion, all of it crashing over him at once. The nurse gently took the baby. "We'll bring him back as soon as we can." Riven watched them leave, his heart aching. Cairos stepped closer. "You did it." Riven nodded, unable to speak. Dr. Okafor finished her work and stepped back. "You're going to be sore for a while, but you and your son are both healthy." Riven closed his eyes. "Thank you." The room emptied, only Cairos remained. He sat in the chair beside the bed. "What happens now?" Riven asked quietly. "Now," Cairos said, "you rest, you heal, and you decide what kind of life you want." "I don't even know where to start." "Start with safety," Cairos said, "then autonomy, then everything else." Riven looked at him. "Why did you do all this?" Cairos was quiet for a moment. "Because no one should be caged, not by fear, not by law, not by someone who claims to love them." Riven's throat tightened. "What about Brax?" "He's been charged with coercion, bribery and assault," Cairos said. "His assets are frozen, his PAC status is revoked, and the investigation into Jammer Pierce has been reopened." Riven's breath caught. "You found him?" "We're looking," Cairos said. "If he's alive, we'll find him. If he's not, Brax will answer for that too." Riven nodded slowly. Cairos stood. "I'll leave you to rest." "Wait," Riven said. Cairos paused. "Stay," Riven said, "just for a little while." Cairos sat back down. Riven closed his eyes. For the first time in months, he felt safe. 3 days later, Riven held his son in the NICU. The baby was tiny but strong, breathing on his own, eating well. The doctors said he'd be home in a few weeks. Cairos visited every day. He never stayed long, never asked for anything, just checked in, made sure Riven had what he needed. On the fourth day, Riven asked the question that had been burning in him. "What do you want from me?" Cairos looked at him. "Nothing. Everyone wants something. Not from you." Riven swallowed. "I don't understand." "You don't have to," Cairos said. "Just know that you're free. The legal paperwork is done. Your name is changed if you want it. Your residence is secure. Your son has a trust fund, and Brax will never touch either of you again." Riven stared at him. "Why?" "Because power that protects without demanding is the only kind worth having." Riven's eyes filled with tears. Cairos stood to leave. "Cairos," Riven said. He turned. "Thank you." Cairos nodded. "Take care of him." "I will." Cairos walked to the door. "And Cairos." He paused. "If you ever want to visit," Riven said quietly, "you're welcome." Cairos allowed the faintest smile. "I'll remember that." He left. Riven looked down at his son, sleeping peacefully in his arms. He whispered the truth he'd finally learned. Protection isn't ownership, strength without consent is abuse, and survival isn't shame. It's victory. The story doesn't end with romance. It ends with autonomy, with choice, with a man who ran from a cage and found safety in the last place he expected. And sometimes, the most dangerous man in the room is the safest place to stand. Thank you for watching this story. If it moved you, inspired you, or made you think, please subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you never miss another story that challenges, uplifts, and reminds us all that freedom is worth fighting for. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your words might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. Together, we create a community of strength, hope, and resilience. See you in the next story.